Good morning, friends. It is Monday, February 13th. If you're new here, my name is Katie. I'm a graduate student at Parsons School of Design in a program called Fashion Studies, where I study the sociocultural phenomenon of fashion. My hair is a wild mess today. I have class starting momentarily. I have class very early, or at least early for me, on Mondays. So I'm going to go set up for class, and I will catch up with you guys back at home. Alright, we are back home. It's 2:30 p.m. I have a lot of work to get done, especially because there was some work that I put off that I was supposed to do last night, but I had to take care of my school readings before I could get to that work, and then I didn't get to the work because it took me so long to do my school readings. But anyways, hi, welcome. I know I already said hello, but that was this morning in the echoey classroom, so apologies for that, but welcome to a new vlog. The theme for this week's vlog is time blocking. I'm going to attempt to time block to manage my ADHD. This is something I have never done before. It is in fact something I have resisted doing, mostly because ADHD folks have a difficult time gauging how much time they need to complete a task. So I just never tried to gauge how much time I needed to complete a task. But I've been feeling really overwhelmed with the move, and I haven't really had any downtime to recuperate and catch up with all of the little care tasks that I like to have out of the way before I try to tackle something like work and school. Like, the house is not put together yet, and we've been living here for, I think, a little over a month, because I've just been so busy, and I feel like I have been running to catch up every single day, kind of drowning in the amount of work that I have to do, to be quite frank. So I spent the weekend at Kaylin's house, the Redhead Academic, because we were hosting our first in-person event for the Accepted Society. We did a little meetup in Boston. We're going to do another meetup in New York City and DC in the coming months, which I'm super excited for. But essentially, I was talking to her about not feeling like I have a good grasp of when I need to be doing what and how much time it's going to take, so she suggested that I try time blocking. So this week, I'm going to take you through the process of attempting to time block, figuring out what time blocking means, and once I've figured out how I want to time block the rest of my week, which I'm going to do after I get some work done, I really want to then track, or at least kind of guesstimate, how much time I've actually spent doing the things that I've time blocked to see if it's matching up with what I time blocked. Then based on that data, I can make adjustments for the next week and hopefully develop this new skill of time blocking. I'm going to be doing that this evening. I should have done it yesterday, but again, I was playing catch up. I had to take the train back from Connecticut, which always just throws off my schedule. But we're going to do it tonight. We're going to give it a solid college try. But for now, I need to get to work. I need to remind James to put the smart bulb in here because this yellow light is not cutting it for me. We are now on to the time blocking part of this vlog. I have my basic calendar pulled up here, so I'm going to show you guys how I'm time blocking. I actually sat down and did this with, like I said, Kaylin. And if you have ADHD and you want to consider using time blocking, I would highly recommend doing this with a friend or a family member, someone you live with who is not ADHD, because they will have a better grasp of how much time you might need to do something. So I ended up cutting out a lot of me talking about what I was planning and why I was planning it that way. So I'm just gonna give you guys a quick rundown. I tried to give myself ample time in the morning to get ready, since I tend to move slower in the morning. And then I tried to ensure that I also had dedicated wind down time in the evening so that I could relax and get ready for bed. Other than that, I sprinkled through my week different tasks, things like podcast editing, YouTube editing, and content creation that didn't have anything to do with school, so that I had plenty of time to get those things done, because a lot of them are time sensitive. Beyond that, I also tried to group my homework together on Mondays and Wednesdays, so I wasn't doing homework every single night of the week. deal with this before I head to school. So let's just ignore the fact that I look awful. We're back. That's a little bit better. Okay. Anyways, hello, it's Tuesday. I am currently working on a homework assignment, but I just wanted to check in with you guys and talk about how the time blocking is going and just do like a preliminary observation. So far, everything that you see over here in yellow is what I've actually done compared to what I was supposed to be doing. So yesterday, I essentially did everything that I needed to do, except I've noticed that down here where this big block of yellow is, the later in the day that it gets, the more difficult it is for me to transition between tasks. And this is really unfortunate because I work in the evening and 2 of my classes don't get out until almost 4 p.m. But before that class, which starts at 2-ish, I don't feel like I have the time to get anything done. So I ended up yesterday finishing content for accepted consulting and making lunch during the podcast time block. I did take my break, but my break bled into the beginning of my work because I was watching the new episode of The Last of Us and I couldn't stop myself. And then I finally started podcast editing, and the podcast editing took way longer than I thought it would. It took me an extra hour to finish the podcast. And then after that, I realized that I still hadn't finished a YouTube video because I was hoping that I was gonna get the podcast editing done in this block and this block here, and that didn't happen, so I stayed up late to edit a YouTube video. Anyways, it is now the next day, and thus far, the waking up and getting ready part seems to be going relatively well, even if I procrastinate a little bit. But where I am meant to be making content, I find myself actually doing my homework because I try to do my Monday and Tuesday readings and homework on Sundays, and I'm just not leaving myself enough time. At this point, I'm not quite sure if this is a time blocking, time management problem, or if I truly simply just have too much to do right now. But I have an hour before I have to go to school. That is an open block, and I'm going to continue to do my homework, and then I'm going to head to school at about 1 p.m. My homework for today is to do a garment reflection. We do one of these every week in conjunction with our readings. Today's readings were things like the impact of fast fashion and kind of like the affect and the reasons behind why people might engage in a secondhand economy. So why people might declutter, take things to a charity shop rather than throwing them away. I'm going to be writing about my dad's denim shirt because one of the articles was talking about what people do with their deceased loved ones' things, and this is something that used to belong to my dad who died 15 years ago, so I thought I could relate to the readings through that experience. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop talking, stop procrastinating, get this assignment out of the way, and head to school. This week I want to consider a garment that has been incredibly useful to me throughout my life that has simultaneously caused me much distress when thinking about its decay. The worn denim shirt, in some places threadbare and torn, that has hung in my closet for the last 15 years once belonged to my dad. It's incredibly soft and supple, the 100% cotton having been worn and washed enough times that no semblance of stiffness is left in its fibers. I was excited at the thought of looking up the maker by the label, but while its care instructions and material content tags remain intact, the maker label has worn to shreds, and any evidence of who it was designed by has long been destroyed. I only kept 2 pieces of my dad's clothing, mostly because their discard was far beyond my choice or control. One is an old t-shirt he used to let me color on that has become so fragile I'm afraid to even breathe on it, and the other is his denim shirt. I refuse to let go of the shirt because of that representation of my dad, but also that responsibility I feel to both keep his memory close and alive, but also because the shirt has continued to have an embodied life full of travel, sweat, dirt, and sometimes tears. The shirt is so far away from being detached from myself, and quite frankly, I never see myself becoming detached from this shirt. My hope is that I can give it longevity that so many other garments do not experience the privilege of having, so much to the point that when the pocket finally rips off, as it's already doing, and the creasing in the cuff finally causes the fibers to tear, that it means the shirt has seen the fulfillment of another life, one my dad never got to experience. When its time does come, my intention is that it will join the rest of the well-loved and overly used items that have come from my wardrobe in the rags bucket under the sink in my kitchen. It might not be the most glamorous ending, but it will have the chance to be a part of my life beyond its wearability. Lastly, I always keep a fragment of the fabric from items that once belonged to my dad. I still have a piece of leather from his recliner, and I hope it will finally have a friend when the shirt finally decays.
Where today? Hey, would you mind terribly boring me?
If we don't eat at our desks in the office, then we are still staying to eat in the kitchen because we've been here for a month and we still haven't bought like a kitchen table and chairs, so it's fine. We'll get there.
Come on.
Eat your cereal.
College, I did live my life with a lot other than, quite frankly, what I feel like for my personal.
Alrighty, it is almost noon and I am off to campus. I normally wouldn't leave quite yet, but I have to go to the library and return an overdue book that they're charging me like $125 for. And then I also have to print out an image because this week in my class called Interpreting Fashion, which is all about research methods, we are talking about visual analysis and visual culture. So we are printing out an image that we find interesting or an image that has to do with our research. And we're going to do some like practice in visual culture, image analysis stuff. So if you saw my YouTube video about racism and vintage fashion, there are pictures in there, and I think I'm going to use one of the pictures from that video because it is relevant to what I hope my master's thesis will be, and the whole point of this class is to help us develop a research proposal for our thesis next semester. And so I'm trying to be strategic about that and take advantage of the point that I have external structure and checkpoints and deadlines for the development of this research proposal, which is great for my ADHD. So that is that. Yeah, I gotta head out. I can only find one. I've been looking for the second shoe for 5 minutes, can't find it, so I'm gonna wear high heels today. Who is she? You can see a lot of ankle. How scandalous. Okay, I actually gotta go to school. I am procrastinating. I don't wanna go, but I gotta. It's important. We gotta learn methods. Become a researcher. Got the image printed because it's an Instagram photo. I figured this would be a good way to like explore visual analysis. And now I'm heading up to the floor where the library is, and I got to return a book. I got a lot of questions about books on TikTok recently, and this is the book I'm going to be returning. It's called. Hey.
Hello. You're going up, right?
I am.
Are you in the library?
Yeah, I have to return this.
Oh.
They charged me like $125 for not returning it.
What?
And I'm like, bro.
Are you serious?
Yeah, like with this.
This library?
Yes, and I'm like, with the strike, you really think you're gonna get 125 of my dollars? Like,
No, that's fucking ridiculous.
also I'm vlogging.
You're what?
I'm vlogging.
Oh, shit.
I'm recording. You wanna say hi?
Hi. Hello, go
This
fashion
is
studies.
think I put way more product on this side of my head than the other.
Oh no.
And all the things that you never ever gonna. And then in the CD version of this album, it like trails off, and then the Jet Set Life Is Gonna Kill You picks up with a little like. I'm late leaving for school now.
I was about to ask that. I was like,
I was having a good time. I'm out of breath from rocking too hard. All right, let's go to class. So it's been a couple of weeks, perhaps a little over a month or two since I filmed the vlog that you're currently watching. So I know that this video is already like 20 minutes long at this point, but I did want to sit down and kind of reflect on what it was like to actually spend a week dedicated to time blocking my time as someone with ADHD, and also maybe just like say hi and apologize for having not posted in the last month or so. So first of all, time blocking. I don't know how people do this. Well, from what I remember, I did actually get more things done, and I got them done in a more, let's say, efficient manner. I was quite impressed with myself with how much I got done. However, it was really, really, really difficult. I'm not entirely sure why it was so difficult, but I have two main hypotheses. The first one is that with time blocking, it requires a lot of switching between tasks and switching between categories of tasks, and that is just really difficult for me and difficult for people with ADHD. Task switching is part of the executive functioning skills that are impacted when you have ADHD. So having so many different things, different tasks, different like categories of time blocks in my day meant that I was using up a lot of brain power, forcing my brain to stop thinking about this thing and start thinking about that thing. I think that part of this has to do with my schedule right now and the fact that I have class Monday through Thursday, and I typically try to have class on alternating days so that like say like Monday is all school stuff, Tuesday is all work stuff, Wednesday is all school stuff, etc. So that way I'm not switching between so many different categories of things, and that just isn't my schedule this semester. So while knowing what it was I was planning on doing when definitely helped me get more done, I think it also hindered me because it left me feeling a lot more exhausted, tired, resistant to doing different things during my day. I was gonna say a second thing, but I have forgotten it / kind of combined it into the first thing, which is it's basically just like the task switching and my schedule are not really conducive to this type of time management. I'm so happy for anyone with ADHD who time blocking does work for, and I just don't think I'm one of those people. I need to be a little more go with the flow and let my brain focus on whatever it is that it wants to focus on in that period of time. It made me really, really tired as well. I didn't vlog on Friday specifically because I don't have school or work on Fridays, and so I made it to Thursday evening and I crashed. I was so tired, I was so overwhelmed, I felt so stressed out, just like, it felt like it was like a thing that was just constantly giving me more input and more information. For some people, I know that time blocking makes it easier to get things done because you're taking out the decision-making process of deciding what to do next. For me, I had to hold on to that information and try to remember what was coming next rather than just doing what came naturally to me next, if that makes sense. So it was like another piece of information to hold on to, and I found it really difficult. Like, I had scheduled break times, but I found it really difficult to keep my break within that designated time. I would go over it. It was genuinely distressing for me to stop doing what I was doing on my breaks and transition to work because I was usually doing something I enjoyed, and for ADHD people, stopping doing something something that you enjoy can feel painful. Overall, time blocking, not for me. I tried it. Sure, it worked in terms of like efficiency and productivity. It did not work in terms of alleviating stress. So those are my thoughts on time blocking. I would be interested in doing it again in a semester where I don't have class like every single day, but for now, it's not my thing. Otherwise, I haven't posted in a month, and it's been about 2 months since I filmed the original vlog for this video, and that is because I am struggling with mental health, which I touched a little bit on in my last video where I talked about sometimes when it comes to ADHD and ADHD management, you have to do your other homework and recognize that sometimes it's not always ADHD, sometimes it's other things like depression and anxiety. And I also talked about starting with a new therapist in that video, and I have continued with that therapist, but I am just kind of in the thick of it right now, and it's with the whole schedule being totally out of whack and feeling overwhelmed all the time, as well as like some just other circumstances that are beyond my control. The amount of stress that I'm under has made it really difficult to get YouTube videos done. So right now I'm just kind of taking it day by day, and I'm editing a little bit every day, and my goal is to have 2 videos a month, so every other week rather than a video every single week, because it's simply just too much for me to handle right now. That's it. I'm sorry this wasn't like the best video. I know it was all over the place, and I'm all over the place right now because I feel a little awkward talking about this kind of stuff, but I also want people to know where I've been and what I've been doing. Alright, well, thanks for sticking around if you made it this far into the video, and I'm gonna go finish editing this video so that you guys can watch it. I hope you're having a better semester than I am, and thank you for sticking around and watching, being part of this roller coaster of a journey. But you tell me, is time blocking something that you've tried? Do you like time blocking? Is there a different type of time blocking you think I should try? Let me know in the comments. I want to try this again, but for now I gotta go. Don't forget to hit subscribe for more ADHD and grad school content, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!